Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, the DRFBets race of the day for Thursday, April the 11th, race number 7 at Keeneland. It is an entry-level allowance for 3-year-old fillies going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf, and you're going to want to make sure to bet the race with a DRFBets account. Race of the day viewers get a special offer during April. Bet $7 to win on any horse in the race of the day this month by using bets.drf.com or the DRF iPhone app. And if your horse finishes second or third, you get your money back. It's a pretty good deal. Let's take a look at this overflow field of 3-year-old fillies at Keeneland on Thursday. You can access free formulator past performances on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Download them, handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post-position order. And Matt, I had trouble analyzing the one, Fortunate Girl, coming out of a stakes-placed effort at the fairgrounds last time out. Visually, I saw a filly get loose on an easy lead and get run down in the stretch, and I usually don't like to play those kind of horses, but Timeform US thought that pace was pretty fast.
Yeah, and I suppose maybe you want to give her some bonus points for that, but I have to be honest, and maybe this is the downfall of a horse player, where I got burned by Fortunate Girl a few starts back in the Ginger Brew. I thought she was ready to go and going to blow the doors off that field, and now, granted, there looked to be some decent fillies that were in that field, but boy, the way that she just had nothing down the lane left a bad taste in my mouth. And you're right, she comes back and runs second there down at the fairgrounds. The other thing that you need to start wondering, through 8 starts, it's not like she's getting any faster. She may have the highest last out buyer in the field, but I don't know if I trust her in a race like this.
She usually runs her buyers in the mid to high 70s. I think it's going to take something in the low 80s to win a race like this. The 2 is Story Time. Lots of new things for this $150,000 yearling purchase. First time turf, first time route. She's trained by a very top horseman in Tom Amos. Broken Vow, the sire, gets 10% winners with first time turfers. Nice to see that the dam won on turf. She has thrown one turf winner that won the debut on turf. Dams have to a couple of synthetic runners. Second dam was a really nice horse. Grade 1 stakes winner on dirt, multiple graded stakes winner on turf. I guess there's enough turf pedigree for me to consider Story Time, and I guess she can be close to the pace, stretching out in distance.
It's an interesting move for me, given the fact that this one just broke the maiden on the dirt. I would just have assumed that the next logical start would be non-winners of one other than sort of situation like that on the main track. Instead, they kind of call an audible, go over to the turf. I don't love the field that she defeated most recently. She has paired up by her tops, but admittedly in slow time. I think she's going to need to take a significant step forward to be a player on the grass.
I wonder if the 3 Not Ordinary is a little muddied up on form. She's only raced twice previously on turf. The career debut, which was actually a good effort at 6 furlongs, probably a distance that's a little bit short for her. And then the grade 1 at Talma, where she was completely overmatched at 48-1. Her 2 subsequent starts came in tough spots in the synthetic. One against graded foes, where she was a big price. One against the boys, Federal Law. The winner of that race came back to run second in the Coronation Futurity with a 75 buyer. Now, she must improve. She's coming off of a layoff, but maybe she could sneak into the single race exotics at a big number.
Yeah, I think the Connections would be really happy if she came with a nice late belated bid. Maybe she gets a small piece of this thing, like you say, so maybe you want to consider her underneath an exotics because she'll be a big number in here. But she's another one, and I think you just need to be cognizant of it anytime you see the Woodbine horses, even at this time of year, especially this time of year, I would say, because we're right around the corner from opening up at Woodbine. So this could be nothing more than a tune-up, get her ready to go, so she's going to fire when they get her up north of the border.
Number 4, Connectivity, Top Connections, Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz for Klaravich Stables. This one came from well out of it to win her career debut at Gulfstream Park, swinging widest into the stretch. Off of that race, she was 4-1 in the Here Comes the Bride, and I don't think that trip really worked out for her. She broke from the far outside post, and she was about a half step slow coming out of the gate. 3 wide around the first turn, 4 wide on the back stretch, and then kind of outpaced turning into the lane. The one thing that bothers me is she's still a little bit green when you watch her. She swaps leads a couple of times in the stretch, but the way she kicked home in her debut, there's obviously some ability.
Yeah, I mean, I like the debut enough to pick her in the Here Comes the Bride. And you're right, the trip may not have been ideal, but boy, I was really disappointed with how flat she was. She didn't offer anything at any point. And the sort of the form of that field, it's not bad, but it's not great coming out of a graded stakes race. I think it's enough where she's getting mild class relief in here. really it boiled down to, for me, as you said, I saw enough in the debut that I need to give her another chance. I can't imagine that she just, maybe that was nothing more than a mirage. I think there is something here, and if she can't get it done in a spot like this, then maybe it's time to go back and reassess that maybe she's not quite what I thought she was, but I think she deserves one more chance.
Here comes the bride runner-up, came back to place in the Appalachian here at Keeneland with a 77 Beyer speed figure, despite a terrible formulator fact. The 5 is furiously fast, and this one is going to try turf for the first time. Violence, the sire, 13% winners with first-time turf runners. The dam has foaled 2 first turf winners, including the stakes-placed runner Landon Paul. Now, this horse started her career over the synthetic sprinting at Woodbine. I really liked the way she won her maiden visually, but she beat just such a lousy field over a closer-friendly track that it worries me. That being said, I do think she's going to appreciate turf. I do think she's going to appreciate distance, and it appears she's taken on some good competition on dirt this winter at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, like you say, you had a next out winner coming out of that most recent run, came back and won next with that 69 Beyer. From a numbers standpoint, when you just look at her overall body of work, it doesn't look like she's made any sort of improvements, but I kind of lean toward your argument that, you know what, these last 2, I don't want to hold these against her because I don't know that she's a dirt horse. I think you get her to the turf, and again, that's a bit of an unknown, but if we want to make that sort of comparison, synthetic over to the grass, she ran as well as she did in those 2 synth races last year as a 2-year-old to make me think that turf probably not going to be a major issue. I also like that she can be a little bit more upwardly mobile. I think she can get in there and have a nice sort of position, work out a good trip, and get the jump on the deep closers.
Well, let's see where Timeform has her in the early portion of the race by utilizing the Timeform US Pace Projector. Matt's absolutely right. Timeform has her in 5th in a nice spot off of a fast-paced situation. The 6 City Diva can be close to the pace, as we see from Timeform. She has won on turf in the past and most recently ran an okay second to Turfway Park, the 3rd horse coming back to hit the board on turf at Gulfstream with a 78 Beyer speed figure. City Diva's numbers, though, a little bit light, and if she's chasing a fast pace, I wonder if it softens her up late.
Yeah, I agree with that. To be honest, I think the only way that she can win is if they try to clear with her, and even if they do that, I think that's a darned if you do, darned if you don't position where if you try to clear, you're going too fast, and then if you're sitting off of a target, I'm not sure that she's as comfortable or as good. I know she was making up decent ground in that most recent run, but I think she's better when she's out there dictating things.
Things to like about the 7 Channel Princess. 1, she's going to be behind what we expect to be a fast pace, and the race should set up very nicely for her. 2, her pedigree. She is making her turf debut, and she is a full sister to Channel Cat, a multiple stakes winner on grass. And just look at the pedigree. You don't even need to know Channel Cat's name. You see English Channel, you see Kitten's Joy. 3, this under the radar barn. They win races. Channel Princess's first start against winners, she was just in too tough in the Bourbonnette Oaks.
Yeah, and now we get over to the grass, and I think there's a real case. I was just making the argument for the filly from Woodbine that, that form is going to transfer over to the turf. It's not an apples-to-apples comparison. We've known that, and we've seen that time and time again. Usually it can be an indication, but sometimes horses are considerably better on different surfaces. Based on this pedigree, she should be better on grass than she is on synthetic. Again, the kind of horse that at a big number, there's no reason to think if this pace is hot that she can't come with a run.
The 8 Mission from L got a beautiful ride from Tyler Gaffalione in the career debut back on December 30th. Breaking from post position 10, Tyler was able to use this horse's natural speed to get a great pocket position on the back stretch, and then the rail opened up in upper stretch, and Mission from L took it from there, shooting on through to win. Tough spot in the first start against winners. We know that a bit special. The winner of that Swedish Chant is a very nice mare, and the runner-up, a Chad Brown trained filly, came back to run second in the Appalachian last week with an 81 Beyer. So Mission from L has some things to like for trainer Brendan Walsh.
Yeah, I agree 100%. She's the kind of horse she could be a little bit sneaky in here, and you might get a decent number on her. I agree as far as the form is concerned. The Swedish Chant, she just faced better horses likely than she's facing here on Thursday afternoon. The career debut was solid enough. Another one that has a little bit of versatility, can sit relatively close to the pace if it's a little bit on the more modest side. If it heats up, I'm not afraid of her going and passing horses. She did that in the career debut. Again, depending on the price, I do think she's interesting.
Hard for me to make a case for the 9 Mississippi Coast, who was no match for Mission from L back in December, then was able to win an off-the-turf race over a sealed, sloppy track at Gulfstream Park, and then last time out against similar competition to this at Gulfstream, she just didn't do any running. She just really has to improve here.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the only win, like you said, was on a sloppy sealed track. Her turf races, from a numbers standpoint, are actually huge. Her fastest so far, but boy, she's still way behind.
Rarely get a big price on a Todd Pletcher train runner, but the number 10 Pep paid over $28, winning her career debut on turf around 2 turns at Tampa Bay Downs. True, the buyer was light, but it looks like she's been training right along at Palm Beach Downs, and these lightly raced, inexperienced fillies, they can jump up 10, 15 points in a hurry.
Yeah, I don't love the field that she ran against that day, but I do like the way that she finished. She got her final stretch run in 29-3, which is something that, you know, at Tampa, especially for that level, that's a fair come home time. Now, granted, she went slow early on, but if we believe that pace projector, she should get something to run at in a spot like this. You might get another decent number on her this afternoon.
Fans of Timeform US's pace ratings, they were all over Gizmo last time out because 2 starts back in her turf debut, she was pressing a very fast pace according to Timeform US before collapsing in the lane. Last time out, she was able to get to a nice, easy early lead, and she was able to win at 9-1. Now she's got to step up in class against much tougher competition with a much tougher pace situation. I'm seeing more of the 2 starts back than last time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of trip she works out from out there because, like you say, the pace, it's drawn to her inside. It feels like they're going to go, and I shouldn't even say it's drawn to her inside. We'll talk about Libby Nose in a minute, but there's enough things in here that make me believe that, you know what, you're going to need to show an entirely new dimension if you're going to win against winners.
Libby Nose completes the body of this field. She won her career debut going 5.5, paid $36, surprising everyone, despite the fact that her trainer Larry Jones wins at a very high rate. She was very eager down inside, sitting in the pocket, and I think she got a little bit lucky that the horse that was hemming her in bolted on the far turn, which allowed Libby Nose to get outside the pace setter. After that, she came with a really nice, sustained professional run to win. I don't see any reason from her pedigree, which has some class in it, why she can't get the distance. It's just she's going to have to work hard to get a forward position.
It's going to be interesting to see. Again, you were talking about post positions. Boy, going into that first turn, you're hung out there wide. You've got a filly stretching out in distance who showed speed at a shorter distance as well. She's probably going to be a little bit keen, want to go. It's going to be up to Gabe Sias. You don't want to lose too much ground going into that first turn. I don't think you want to get into a duel either. I think they'd be very, very content if she's about 3 passes off the rail and she's sitting just in behind the speeds.
We have seen horses improve off of that race at the fairgrounds, however. The horse that ran next to last that day returned to finish 3rd in a maiden at Keeneland and improved the buyer all the way up to 70. Let's take a look at our top selections for Thursday's DRFBets race of the day. You like Chad's horse Connectivity? It looks like there's going to be some pace. I just want to see her focused better on the stretch. Change leads and stay there.
Yeah, I agree. She's still very, very green, which is a bit uncharacteristic for a Chad runner. And again, she was, I mean, in my opinion, she was quite poor in that Here Comes the Bride. I think if she's going to win this race, it has to be more representative of that career debut than that most recent run. I want to give her one more chance.
I'm hoping that Furiously Fast can become the 3rd first turf winner out of this dam. And in the 3rd start of the form cycle with a solid buyer profile, every race thus far in the 70s, I'm hoping for a little bit of a forward move from the 5 Furiously Fast. I'm going 5, 1, 4, and 12, and I probably spread and use those horses in multi-race wagers.
4, 1, 5, 12 for me. I mean, we look at it very similarly. The same 4 horses, just in a little bit of a different fashion. But again, if you are playing multis, I agree with you. I think you need to spread a little bit in here.
Wide open race, big field for your DRFBets Thursday race of the day. Bet it with a DRFBets account. You won't be sorry. Bet all the races of the day this month. Bet $7 to win on any one horse by using bets.drf.com or the DRF iPhone app. And if you run 2nd or 3rd, you get your money back. Approximate post time for the 7th at Keeneland on Thursday, 4:24 Eastern. Best of luck.